Hello, my name is Maria, and I'm going to be your social worker today.
Hi, I'm Shelby.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Before we get started, I just want to share with you the terms of confidentiality for our sessions. If you decide to move forward after today, this is meant to be a safe space where you can say and express whatever you wish, and I am under obligation to keep it within these walls. However, it is my responsibility to inform you that as a social worker, I am a mandated reporter. So if any information is shared that expresses harm to come to you or yourself or to another person, I'm required to report it under legal obligation. However, as a social worker, I am acting as a partner with you to overcome emotional turmoil and to help you see things from another perspective. And if you wish to meet with me for further sessions, I hope to serve you in my best ability. Do you have any questions about this?
No.
Okay. Do you consent to these terms? Okay. So what brings you in today?
So I've just been dealing with a lot of stress around like school and stuff like that. Just constantly feeling overwhelmed with assignments and working a job and just trying to manage it all is being really difficult.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you seem to feel overwhelmed and stressed about your academic performance um, because you feel like you're under a lot of pressure to get it all done and you're having a hard time managing your time. Is that correct?
Yeah, it feels like I never get a break. Like it's constantly assignment after assignment, exam. I don't feel like I ever get a chance to stop and recollect myself and then go strong again. It's just no matter how much I try and stay ahead or do things early and do things well, I constantly just feel like I'm behind and I just worry about doing bad.
Okay. What do you mean by bad? And are you doing well in your classes despite this nervousness?
I've managed to do pretty decently, maybe with a little bit of lack of uh, mental health awareness. But by bad, I almost just kind of mean like I just really want to do well. Like I don't want to disappoint anyone or myself, and I want to be able to stay on track and graduate at a decent pace or graduate on time, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
That's a valid want. I agree. When you say that you don't want to disappoint anyone, who are you talking about?
Um, Mostly, I guess like my mom. So my mom does what I'm going to school for. So I feel like I have high expectations already set for me. Plus, she had very bad circumstances when she was in school. She had kids, she had me. And so I don't have all that. I actually have a really strong support system, but I don't like to rely on them because I want to prove that I am like strong enough and like smart enough to accomplish it on my own.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that your mom is a big role model for you in
Yeah.
your career, and you want to be just as strong um, as she was with all of her circumstances, and you being able to be a little more free with being, you know, not having kids and being able to have a support system. You want to be able to really show that you can succeed and excel in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you feel like her model of success is almost like pressuring you, like you feel pressured from her?
Um, yeah, there's like a lot of pressure that comes from her, and like she's not the type of mom. She doesn't ask me for my grades. She doesn't try and make me feel like I have to do like perfect, but in a way she does because she sets the bar really high because like she has like there has been times where she's like, well, when I was in school, blah blah blah, and it's like that comparison, and so I just feel like I have to do really good. Um, but there is a lot of pressure that comes from her just because I don't want to disappoint her. I want to be the the good daughter.
Yeah.
I want to be the one that completes school on time and doesn't change my major a million times and has good grades and all that. I just want to be able to be at the top of her charts.
Right. So when you say that she's not blatantly pressuring you to be perfect, do you feel like some of those side comments of, well, when I was in school, do you feel like that kind of intimidates you or kind of makes you feel less?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think she means to do it, but I feel like a lot of parents do it, or siblings, if you have older siblings and stuff like that. I do it with my older sister because she struggled a lot in school, and I, on the other hand, haven't as much. Um, but I tell myself like I know she's not trying to pressure me, but it really is. It's like a solid comparison of me and her, especially since we're doing the same thing. And she's very well established with her own private practice, and that's like my goal. And so I almost feel like because I have a role model who has done exactly what I want to do, that I should be well ahead of the game. And I feel like I'm just not.
Do you feel like maybe your harshest critic is yourself? Like maybe you're pressuring yourself a little harder than you should?
Probably. Because I know like a lot of the intimidation from my mom is myself and my brain telling me that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think so. I think I probably am really hard on myself, but I don't try to be. I try to be the person that like goes with the flow and doesn't care. But like at the end, on like the inside of my head, it's like you have this to do today and this to do today, and you got to get it done by this time. Got to get an A on it, or else it's no good.
Do you think there's anything that you could do that could relieve your stress or help yourself not pressure yourself so much, like give yourself leeway?
I try and make like to-do lists every week. So I have a planner that I fill out at the beginning of the semester with the syllabuses and stuff for syllabi. Um, but I still like try and do a weekly to-do list because it helps me get a bigger picture on what I have to do in a shorter amount of time. But even with that, sometimes I still find myself having to turn things in last minute because I'm a really bad procrastinator for someone who's such a perfectionist. But I try my hardest to stay on top of things and to do like to-do lists and things like that. But it's just sometimes the stress of it is too overwhelming that I just constantly push it off. I just don't even want to face it.
So it sounds like for being a perfectionist, you make sure to plan and you make sure that you have everything in front of you so you know what you have to do. But the anxiety that you're feeling is almost paralyzing you from being able to focus and manage your time. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes, spot on.
So, do you think that talking to your mom about some of these comments might help her to open up on how to support you better with your anxiety?
Um, I usually stay away from talking to my mom because I've had issues of my mom trying to therapy me because she does this. And she's gotten a lot better at not doing that, but it kind of sometimes comes across as I either anger her or I just don't get as genuine of a response from her when I talk to her about things. And sometimes when I talk about things that she does that she doesn't mean to do that upset me, she gets really offended. And I don't, so like, I talk to her about certain things. Like, I've talked to her about stress in school, but I haven't talked to her about any of like the deeper side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I talked to my dad about it.
Do you feel like your mom kind of goes one of two ways, either treats you exclusively like a client of hers or exclusively like a daughter rather than being able to help you as
Uh,
a mom?
yeah, so in high school, when she first got established in her private practice, was when we had a really big falling out because I accused her of treating me like a client all the time. And I just didn't feel like I had a mom to talk to. And so that was like a really big deal then. And then ever since then is when I've gotten like the less genuine responses from her. So it's like I can't talk to her as a therapist, but
Right.
now I can't really talk to her as my mom either, as like someone that I can just rant to or just tell her everything that's going on, because I worry really bad about upsetting her.
So do you feel like her being a social worker and having clients that have problems that she's talking to every day, do you feel like that's hindering your relationship still since
Um,
going out?
Not as much so now in the way that it was. I still like can have really fun and like happy times and conversations with her, but not usually about like serious things. Gotten really bad about like not talking about like emotions and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's something that you really value and you feel like you need to have with your mom?
I don't know, because I've gotten so good at it that, I mean, it would be nice to be able to, but it's like a habit now. I just kind of don't. Like, I'll talk to my friends or my boyfriend. And like I said, there's been times I talk about my dad, but he doesn't really care. He's just like, you'll be okay. But I don't know if it's something I necessarily want as much as it's something that I probably need.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you've gone so long without being going into depth in conversation about emotions with your mom because her being a social worker is kind of hindering you because that relationship, that daughter relationship, client relationship is kind of seems to be blurred for her in your relationship, and she doesn't know how to fully distinguish the two.
Mm-hmm.
And you seem to be avoiding emotional conversation with her because it might be more difficult because she might get mad at you, it seems. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. And I almost feel like I'm partially to blame for it, because I'm the one that brought up her treating me like a client. And so that's another reason why like I just don't try and bring the topic back up.
Right. Okay. Well, it's nearing the end of our session, but I'd like to summarize and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you're having anxiety with your academics, and it seems to be because you have this really strong role model of your mom and you want to succeed and be able to make her proud and make yourself proud. And it kind of boils down to your support system seems to be good, but there are some lines that have been blurred, and you're having a little bit of stress in that area. But I'd like to offer a goal for you that maybe if you continue with us for another session, to talk to your mom in a very open way, but maybe not in a confrontation way. Just ask her maybe questions on how you could do better and maybe how she could do better, and see how that goes. But thank you. And